Beneath the blistering Texas sky, Daniel Whitaker steers in shock as a gleaming eco-resort desecrates his family's ranch, its glass walls mocking the sacred soil of 4 generations. Why is Daniel, a man who fought for this land's soul, now branded an outsider? What dark secrets fuel Evelyn Mercer's ruthless land grab? As he clutches a hidden key, a battle for justice erupts, unearthing greed's buried truths. Dive into this gripping saga of betrayal and triumph. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories that expose corruption and ignite change. Join us to uncover the truth now. The Texas sun blazed mercilessly, scorching the earth as Daniel Whitaker's black SUV rumbled down the dirt road to his family's 60-acre ranch, the air thick with dust and the sharp tang of cedar. A former environmental engineer, Daniel had seen ecosystems ravaged by greed. But this land, where his grandfather once tilled golden wheat, was his sanctuary, a place to heal from a world of destruction. Rusty, his loyal collie, sat alert in the passenger seat, ears twitching at the distant growl of machinery. As the road curved, Daniel's heart lurched. Where wheat fields once danced under the breeze, a sprawling eco-resort loomed, its glass walls glinting like the eyes of a predator. A sign stabbed into the earth read, "Greenwood Resort, approved by HOA." Evelyn Mercer's name bolded like a taunt. Daniel slammed on the brakes, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, his voice a low growl to Rusty. "This is our home, boy. Who dared touch it?" The ranch, a 4-generation legacy of sweat and soil, was unrecognizable, its soul buried under manicured lawns and a sprawling parking lot. Workers in hard hats swarmed like ants, their jackhammers a mockery of the land's quiet rhythm. Daniel stepped out, boots crunching on gravel that once cradled crops, his chest tight with fury and disbelief. He'd been gone a month, a critical job in Jakarta to secure his family's future. Yet in that blink, his heritage had been stolen. His phone buzzed, a text from his wife Clara flashing, "Daniel, it's an emergency. Call me now." But his eyes were locked on the resort, its sterile perfection an insult to his grandfather's calloused hands. A worker approached, clipboard in hand, his voice hesitant. "Sir, can I help you?" Daniel's gaze hardened, his tone sharp as barbed wire. "Help me. This is my family's land. I'm Daniel Whitaker. Who authorized this?" The worker shifted, uneasy. Mrs. Mercer said it's all legal, sir. HOA approved." Daniel's laugh was cold, cutting. "Legal, without my signature. Get me someone who knows something." The worker scurried off, leaving Daniel to pace the perimeter, each step a violation of his birthright. Near the construction entrance, a stack of papers lay on a table, permits, zoning maps, and a cryptic note about an eco-preservation zone. Daniel's engineering mind raced. The term reeked of deceit. "Preservation," he muttered, pocketing a permit. "This is a land grab dressed in green lies." Rusty growled, sensing his master's rage, as a white SUV rolled up, its HOA sticker gleaming. Evelyn Mercer stepped out, her emerald blazer pristine, her smile sharp as a blade. She'd always sneered at the ranch's weathered fences, her letters nitpicking grass height like a personal vendetta. "Mr. Whitaker," she called, her voice syrupy with false warmth. "Welcome back. Impressed with our progress." Daniel stepped closer, his tone ice. "Progress? You built a monstrosity on my land. Explain yourself, Evelyn." Her smile tightened, her eyes glinting with calculation. "This is Greenwood's future, Daniel. Your farm was outdated. We're elevating the community." Daniel's fists clenched, his voice low, elevating. "You erased my family's legacy without a word. That's theft." Evelyn's laugh was brittle, her tone dismissive. "Theft? The county approved this. You're out of touch." Daniel's eyes narrowed, his voice a growl. "Out of touch? I know my rights, and you've crossed a line." She turned, her heels clicking, but Daniel caught her glance at the well near the orchard, a flicker of greed. "What's under there, Evelyn?" he called, his voice sharp. "Something you're not telling me." She froze, then drove off, leaving dust and questions swirling. Daniel's phone buzzed again. "Clara, found old papers in the barn. Hurry home." He drove to town, his mind a storm of betrayal and resolve. At the local diner, he met Amos Reed, a weathered farmer with a weathered face and eyes that held secrets. "You're up against a viper, Daniel," Amos said, nursing a coffee. "Evelyn's been eyeing your land for years." Daniel leaned in, his voice urgent. "Why mine, Amos? What's she after?" Amos's eyes darkened, his voice a whisper. "Your grandfather knew something about a mineral vein under your well. Check his old maps." Daniel's pulse quickened, his tone firm. "Maps? I'll tear that barn apart if I have to." Amos nodded, his voice grim. "Be careful. Evelyn's got claws in the county council." As Daniel left, a shadow moved near the diner, a young woman, her HOA badge glinting, watching him. She vanished before he could call out, but her presence lingered like a warning. Back at the ranch, Daniel stood on the porch, Rusty at his side, the resort's lights mocking the stars. He remembered his grandfather's words. "The land speaks, Daniel. Protect it." A faint tremor shook the ground, a pulse from deep below, as if the earth itself was stirring. Daniel's hand tightened on the permit, his voice a vow to Rusty. "They think they've won, but this is our fight." A crumpled note slipped from the permit, unsigned. "The well holds the key. They're watching." Daniel's heart pounded, his engineering instinct screaming. Something valuable lay beneath, and Evelyn would stop at nothing to claim it. As a drone's hum broke the night, its red lights circling overhead, Daniel's resolution hardened. "Let them watch," he whispered, his voice steel. "This war's just begun." The Texas night wrapped the ranch in a heavy stillness, broken only sound the creak of old wood in the barn where dust danced like whispers of the past. Rusty's ears flicked at the faint hum of a distant car, his low growl echoing the unease in the air. The hand-drawn map, from 1948, its edges brittle, lay spread across a workbench, its cryptic notes about a rare mineral vein glowing under the lantern's flicker. The permit stolen from the Greenwood resort site, with its suspicious eco-preservation, pulsed in his mind, a puzzle piece in a larger scheme. The tremor beneath the earth, a restless pulse now, hinted at a prize Evelyn Mercer would burn to seize. His fingers traced the map's lines, each note a breadcrumb in a trail of greed. "This land's got a story," he murmured to Rusty, the collie's eyes glinting with loyalty. The barn felt like a fortress now, its shadows hiding secrets that could shatter an empire. A sharp crunch of gravel outside snapped his focus. Through a knothole, he saw a pickup truck idling, its headlights slicing the dark. A figure stepped out, Lena Ruiz, the HOA intern who'd shadowed him at the diner, her face pale under a hoodie. She clutched a manila envelope, her steps hesitant. "Whitaker," she whispered, her voice trembling as she neared the barn door. "I shouldn't be here, but you need this." He cracked the door, his tone low. "Why risk it, Lena? What's in that envelope?" She shoved it into his hands, her eyes darting to the shadows. "Proof. Evelyn's bribing county officials to rezone your land. They're after lithium under your well." His pulse surged, his voice sharp. "Lithium? How long's she known?" Lena's breath hitched, her voice fierce. "Years. She's in debt to Grayson Corp. They're pulling the strings. You stop her or they'll ruin you." He gripped the envelope, his tone steady. "You're playing with fire, Lena. Why help me?" Her jaw tightened, her voice cracking. "My dad's orchard was taken by people like her. I won't let it happen again." Rusty whined, and Lena vanished into the night, leaving a storm of questions. He tore open the envelope, finding emails between Evelyn and a county clerk promising cash for expedited zoning. A grainy photo showed Evelyn shaking hands with the Grayson executive near his well. "She's building a castle on lies," he muttered, snapping photos of each page. His phone buzzed. "Clara, Marcus found a loophole in their permits. Meet us at dawn." He pocketed the envelope, his mind racing. The well wasn't just water, it was a vault, and Evelyn's desperation reeked of corporate hunger. At sunrise, he drove to Marcus's office, the lawyer's desk buried with maps and legal pads. Marcus, a wiry man with sharp eyes, tapped a 1972 deed. "Your grandfather set up a land trust," he said, his voice clipped. "It blocks any rezoning without your consent. Evelyn's permits are flimsy." His tone darkened, his finger tracing a surveyor's note. "But there's more. Soil tests from the 80s hint at lithium deposits. That's what Grayson wants." His eyes met Marcus's, his voice urgent. "Can we use the trust to stop her?" Marcus nodded, his tone grim. "Yes, but we need hard proof of their bribes. Lena's envelope is a start." He leaned back, his voice low. "Evelyn's got allies in high places. We're dancing on a razor's edge." A knock interrupted them. Amos Reed shuffled in, his weathered hands clutching a faded ledger. "Found this in my attic," he rasped, sliding it across the desk. "Your granddad and mine fought the HOA in '65. Same tricks, fake boundaries, forged approvals." His eyes burned, his voice firm. "They lost then, you can make 'em lose now." He flipped the ledger open, revealing a surveyor's sketch of the well marked mineral anomaly. His breath caught, his tone sharp. "They knew back then." Amos nodded, his voice low. "Your granddad buried it to protect the land. Evelyn's digging up trouble," he sealed. He left Marcus's office, the ledger under his arm, Rusty trailing close. At the ranch, he found a new threat. A neon yellow stake driven into his orchard inches from the well, its HOA tag fluttering like a warning. His blood boiled, his voice a growl. "They're marking their claim." He yanked the stake free, snapping it over his knee. A drone buzzed overhead, its camera glinting. He grabbed a slingshot from the barn, firing a pebble that sent it wobbling. "Stay out of my sky," he shouted, his voice echoing. The drone retreated, but a chill settled. He was being watched. That night, he met Lena at an abandoned grain silo, her face drawn. She handed him a USB drive, her voice hushed. "Evelyn's meeting Grayson tonight. They're planning to forge a backdated permit." His heart pounded, his tone urgent. "Where, Lena?" She scribbled an address, her voice trembling. "Old Mill, midnight. Be careful, they know I'm leaking." He gripped her shoulder, his voice warm. "You're braver than they'll ever be. Hide low." She nodded, slipping into the dark. He drove to the mill, parking in the shadows. Through binoculars, he saw Evelyn with a Grayson suit exchanging a briefcase. He recorded, his voice a whisper to Rusty, "Got you." But a twig snapped behind him, a security guard, radio crackling. "Who's there?" the guard barked. He froze, Rusty silent, as the guard passed inches away. His heart thundered, but he escaped, the footage a ticking bomb. Back at the barn, he reviewed the video, Evelyn's voice clear. "Forged the permit. Whitaker's done." He emailed it to Marcus, his voice grim. "This is our shot." As Rusty growled at a distant hum, he felt the earth tremble again, stronger, as if warning of the battle ahead. The ledger, USB, and stolen permit were his arsenal now, and Evelyn's empire was about to crack. The Texas dusk painted the horizon in streaks of crimson, casting long shadows across the ranch as the hum of distant machinery faded into an uneasy quiet. Rusty's ears twitched at the crunch of gravel beyond the fence, his low growl a warning of encroaching threats. The USB drive from Lena Ruiz burned in his pocket, its footage of Evelyn Mercer's clandestine meeting with Grayson Corp, a grenade ready to detonate. The ledger from Amos, with its surveyor's sketch of a mineral anomaly, lay open on the barn table, its pages whispering of a lithium vein that fueled Greenwood's greed. The earth's tremors, now a steady pulse, seemed to urge him forward, as if the land itself demanded justice. He stood on the 4-by-4-foot parcel by the gate, the key to his freedom glinting in his hand, his voice a low vow to Rusty. "They think they've caged us, boy. Tonight, we strike back." He strode into the community center, the air thick with tension, his leather briefcase heavy with evidence. Evelyn sat at the head of the polished table, her emerald blazer a facade of control, but her eyes flickered with unease as he entered. The room buzzed with HOA board members and curious residents, their whispers halting as he set his briefcase down with a thud. "I'm here to talk about the theft of my family's land," he began, his voice steady, cutting through the silence like a blade. He spread out a 1948 map, its notarized boundaries, a testament to my grandfather's foresight. "This proves my ranch was never transferable without my consent." He slid a private environmental report across the table, detailing how Greenwoods Resort threatened a critical aquifer. "Your eco-resort is poisoning our water. Explain that, Evelyn." Her smile was tight, her voice sharp. "This is a community project, Whitaker. You're obstructing progress." He leaned forward, his tone cold. "Progress? You're building on stolen land. My grandfather's trust forbids it." A board member, Martha Cole, leaned in, her pen scratching notes. "If there's no consent, how's this legal?" she asked, her voice firm. Evelyn's jaw twitched, her tone defensive. "The county approved it. We follow protocol." He pulled out a grainy photo from Lena's envelope, showing Evelyn with a Grayson executive. Protocol or bribes? The room gasped, eyes darting to Evelyn, who gripped her pen like a lifeline. He pressed on, his voice rising. "This photo shows you scheming with Grayson Corp. You're not building a resort, you're chasing lithium." Evelyn's face paled, her voice a hiss. "You're out of line, Whitaker. That's slander." He held up the USB drive, his tone lethal. "Slander? I've got your voice on tape, forging permits." Martha's eyes widened, her voice sharp. "Tape? We need to hear it." He plugged the drive into a laptop. Evelyn's recorded words echoing. "Forged the permit. Whitaker's done." The room erupted in murmurs, a man in a polo shirt whispering, "She's been lying to us." Evelyn stood, her voice shrill. "This is a setup. He's fabricating evidence." He met her gaze, his voice thundering. "Fabricating? My land's locked behind your fence. The truth's on my side." A young board member, Justin Hayes, raised his hand. "Can we verify these documents?" His tone was curious, not hostile. He nodded, sliding copies to the table. "Every page is notarized. Check the county records." Evelyn's eyes darted to the exit, her voice strained. "This meeting's over." But Martha blocked her, her tone firm. "Not until we vote on an investigation." The crowd cheered, a shift in the air as neighbors found their courage. He caught Lena's eye in the back, her nod subtle but fierce. "Keep going," she mouthed, her presence a spark in the growing fire. Outside, as the meeting dissolved into heated debates, Amos pulled him aside, his voice low. "Found something else. Your granddad's journal mentions a protected wetland near the well." His heart raced, his tone urgent. "Wetland? That's a federal violation." Amos nodded, his voice grim. "Evelyn's digging her own grave." He texted Clara, "Get a wetland expert. We've got her." Her reply was swift. "On it. Stay sharp." Back at the ranch, he found a new threat. A drone's wreckage near the well, its Grayson logo glinting. "They're desperate," he muttered, pocketing a memory card from the device. That night, he met Lena at a deserted barn, her face drawn. "They know I'm leaking," she whispered, handing him a burner phone. "This has texts proving Evelyn is bribing the sheriff." His eyes narrowed, his voice low. "The sheriff? How deep's this go?" Lena's voice trembled, but her resolve held deep. Grayson's got half the county. You're their last obstacle. He gripped the phone, his tone warm. You're risking everything, Lena. I won't forget this. She shook her head, her voice fierce. Stop them, Whitaker, from my dad's orchard. As she slipped away, a car's headlights flashed nearby, forcing him to duck into the shadows, Rusty silent at his side. He reviewed the burner phone's text, Evelyn promising the sheriff a cut of Grayson's profits. This is dynamite, he whispered, forwarding them to Marcus. The earth trembled again, stronger, as if cheering his defiance. He stood at the gate, the resort's lights a mocking glow, but his resolve was iron. Your empire's crumbling, Evelyn, he said to the night, Rusty's growl echoing his vow. The wetland clue, the tape's confession, and the sheriff's betrayal were weapons now, poised to topple a giant. The Texas night cloaked the ranch in a tense hush, the steel fence around it glinting like a predator's teeth under the moon. Rusty's hackles rose at a distant rustle, his growl a low warning as the air carried the faint scent of diesel from Greenwood Resort's idling trucks. The burner phone from Lena Ruiz, its text exposing Evelyn Mercer's bribe to the sheriff, weighed heavy in his pocket, a ticking bomb of truth. Amos's journal, with its note on a protected wetland near the well, lay open on the porch table, its pages hinting at a federal violation that could crush Greenwood's empire. The earth's tremors, now a steady drumbeat, pulsed with the land's defiance, urging him to strike. He stood by the gate, the key to his parcel a cold talisman, his voice a whisper to Rusty. They're scared now, boy. We're closing in. He drove to the gate at dawn, dust swirling like a war cry, and nailed a new sign to his 4x4-foot parcel. This land is ours. A Greenwood SUV screeched up, brakes howling. Evelyn leapt out, her blazer rumpled, her voice a snarl. You're making a fool of yourself, Whitaker. Take that down. He leaned on his truck, his tone sharp as flint. Fool, you're the one poisoning my well for your profits. This sign stays. Evelyn's eyes blazed, her voice low. You're blocking our vision. That lithium's ours. He laughed, cold and cutting. Vision? You mean theft. My grandfather's trust says no. A crowd of Greenwood residents gathered, phones filming, a woman in a cardigan murmuring, he's not backing down. Lena slipped him a note. They're sabotaging the well tonight. His heart raced, his voice low. What's their plan, Lena? She whispered. Chemicals to ruin the water. Blame you for contamination. He nodded, his tone firm. You're risking it all. Stay low. Lena's eyes were fierce. End this, Whitaker, for my dad. That morning, Marcus called, his voice urgent. The wetlands confirmed. Your well's on protected federal land. Greenwood's permits are void. He gripped the phone, his tone sharp. Can we shut them down? Marcus's voice was grim. With Lena's text and your footage, yes. But Evelyn's got the sheriff in her pocket. He hung up, driving to Amos's cabin where out there the old farmer handed him a faded photo. Your granddad mapped water flows in '70, Amos rasped. Shows the wetlands reach. They're breaking every law. His eyes narrowed, his voice low. They knew. Amos nodded, his tone hard. Evelyn's gambling everything. Back at the ranch, he found a new threat. Tired tracks near the well, a spilled canister reeking of chemicals. They're moving fast, he muttered, snapping photos. He rigged motion sensors around the well, their red lights blinking like sentinels. That night, the sensors blared. His cameras caught two men in black pouring liquid into the well, Grayson logos on their vests. Rusty's barks echoed as he shouted, "Drop it." The men fled, one dropping a vial labeled industrial solvent. He bagged it, his voice grim. This is their death knell. He sent the footage to Marcus. Get this to the EPA. At noon, Clara arrived with the geologist's report. The well's water's tainted, but the lithium veins untouched, she said, her voice steady. The EPA's launching a probe. He gripped her hand, his tone fierce. They tried to frame us. Clara's eyes burned. We'll bury them. A drone buzzed overhead, its lens glinting. He fired his slingshot, sending it crashing. "No more eyes in my sky," he growled, retrieving its chip. He met Lena at a deserted quarry, her face pale. "Evelyn's threatening my dad's old shop," she said, handing him a flash drive. "This has Grayson's financials. They're bleeding money. Need your lithium to survive." His pulse surged, his tone urgent. "How'd you get this?" Lena's voice trembled. "Hacked their server. They're onto me." He gripped her shoulder, his voice warm. "You're a warrior, Lena. I'll protect you." She nodded, her voice fierce. "Make them pay." That evening he crashed Greenwood's gala, the resort's glass walls glowing with false opulence. He nailed the vial to the gate with the sign, "Your poison, your crime." Evelyn stormed out, her voice a shriek. "You're ruining everything, Whitaker. Stop this." He stood tall, his tone ice. "Ruining? You're poisoning Mo land. This vial's your confession." A man in a suit whispered, "He's got proof." Clara emerged, her voice sharp. "The EPA's coming, Evelyn. Your game's over." Evelyn's face twisted, her voice desperate. "You're a nobody. Grayson will crush you." He laughed, his tone lethal. "Crush me? I've got your secrets. You're done." A tremor shook the ground, rattling the gate stronger than ever. The crowd gasped and he knelt, feeling the earth's pulse. "It's fighting with us," he said, his voice low. Evelyn's eyes flickered with fear, her tone shrill. "Take our offer, 3 million, walk away." He dangled the gate key, his voice resonant. "My land's worth more than your blood money." As Greenwood's SUV retreated, he stood firm, the crowd filming, their cheers a rising tide. He texted Tara Holt, the reporter, "The EPA's here, run the story." Her reply flashed, "Live at 10, you're shaking their world." Back at the ranch, he reviewed the flash drive. Grayson's ledgers showed millions in debt, Evelyn's bribes a desperate bid to save them. Rusty growled as a car slowed by the gate, its headlights glinting. He grabbed his rifle, not for violence but readiness, his voice a vow. "They won't touch our home." The earth trembled again, a call to arms as he prepared for the final battle, armed with truth and the land's own secrets. The Texas morning dawned with a fiery glow, casting jagged shadows across the steel fence that still caged the ranch, its padlock now a relic of defiance. Rusty's ears pricked at the distant wail of sirens, his growl a low echo of the earth's restless tremors, which pulsed stronger, as if the land itself roared for justice. The flash drive from Lena Ruiz, exposing Grayson Corp's debts and Evelyn Mercer's bribes, burned in his pocket, a final weapon in a war of truth. The EPA's probe, sparked by the vial of industrial solvent, loomed over Greenwood like a storm cloud. He stood on his 4x4-foot parcel, the gate key gleaming, his voice a steady vow to Rusty. "This ends today, boy. They're falling." He strode into the courthouse, the air thick with anticipation, his briefcase heavy with evidence, maps, OMALs, footage, and wetland reports. Evelyn sat rigid, her blazer creased, her eyes darting like a cornered animal. Judge Clara Hayes, her gaze unyielding, surveyed the packed room of farmers, reporters, and Greenwood residents. "We'll hear final arguments," she declared, her voice cutting the silence. Marcus rose, his suit crisp, his tone resonant. "Your Honor, this is a deliberate theft of heritage masked as progress." He laid out the 1948 map, its notarized lines unassailable, then played the footage of Evelyn's forged permit meeting. Greenwood violated federal wetland laws, bribed officials, and poisoned a well to frame its owner. Evelyn's lawyer, a slick man in pinstripes, stood, his voice oily. "This is speculation. The resort's permits are valid." Marcus countered, his tone sharp, sliding Lena's texts across the bench. "Valid? These show bribes to the sheriff." The room gasped, a woman in a scarf whispering, "She bought the law." Evelyn's face drained, her voice shrill. "Those are lies, fabricated." He stepped forward, his tone thunder. "Lies, your solvents and evidence, Evelyn. You tried to ruin my land." Judge Hayes' eyes narrowed, her voice stern. "Miss Mercer, explain the chemical sabotage." Evelyn stammered, her voice cracking. "It's a misunderstanding. We were testing soil. He laughed, cold and cutting. Testing with industrial poison? You're burying yourself. Martha Cole, the HOA board member, stood, her voice trembling but firm. I can't stay silent. Evelyn pushed the resort without a full vote. I have records. She handed over a ledger, her hands shaking. She threatened dissenters. The judge's pen paused, her tone icy. This suggests misconduct, Miss Mercer. Evelyn's composure shattered, her voice a hiss. You're all against me. This is my community. He met her gaze, his voice resonant. Your community? You stole from it. My family's land speaks louder than your greed. Lena slipped into the back, her eyes fierce, mouthing, finish it. He nodded, pulling out Amos's aerial photos, showing wetland boundaries violated by Greenwood's foundation. This resort's illegal, he said, his voice steady. Federal law protects this land. You built on a lie. A farmer in overalls clapped, murmuring, he's got her. The judge reviewed the photos, her voice sharp. These indicate a clear violation. Miss Mercer, your defense is crumbling. The courtroom buzzed as Tara Holtz, the reporter, filmed silently, her camera a beacon of truth. Marcus presented Grayson's financials, revealing their desperation for lithium. They pressured Miss Mercer to deliver, he said, his tone methodical. She broke laws to save them. Evelyn's lawyer objected, his voice weak. This is irrelevant. Judge Hayes silenced him, her tone final. It's critical. Sit down. The crowd leaned forward, the air electric, as she studied the evidence, her face a mask of resolve. Outside, after hours of testimony, Amos met him, his voice low. Your granddad would be proud. That wetland's your shield. He gripped Amos's shoulder, his tone warm. You gave me the map to win. Amos's eyes twinkled, his voice gruff. Finish it for all of us. Back inside, the judge's gavel fell, her voice booming. The resort as ordered demolished, the land reverts to its owner, and an investigation into Grayson Corp is mandated. Cheers erupted, farmers embracing, while Evelyn slumped, her empire in ruins. He walked at the ranch at dusk, Rusty at his side, the earth's tremors softening as if at peace. The resort skeleton stood half dismantled, a scar healing under the Texas sky. Clara joined him, her voice soft. We did it, for your granddad. He squeezed her hand, his tone fierce. For everyone they tried to crush. They stood by the well, its water clear again, a symbol of resilience. He founded the Whitaker Trust, a fund to shield local farmers from corporate greed, its first act protecting Lena's dad's old orchard. Tara's broadcast aired that night, the ranch rebellion, showing the courtroom victory and the wetland salvation. Hashtag Whitaker wins trended, inspiring farmers nationwide. Lena met him at the diner, her voice warm. You changed everything. My dad's smiling somewhere. He grinned, his tone steady. You lit the spark, Lena. We all won. She nodded, her eyes bright. Keep fighting. As he drove home, a final tremor rippled. Gentle now, the land's farewell to battle. He stood at the gate, the key in hand, the fence no longer a cage, but a monument to truth. We're free, he whispered to Rusty, the stars above bearing witness to a legacy reborn. Daniel Whitaker's fierce battle against Greenwood Resort reveals timeless lessons in courage, unity, and justice. His unyielding fight against Evelyn Mercer's greed teaches us that one person, armed with truth and determination, can dismantle corrupt systems. By leveraging his grandfather's foresight and Lena's bravery, Daniel shows that resilience and strategic thinking turn oppression into triumph. The community's support, Amos's wisdom, Clara's resolve, and Martha's defiance highlights the power of collective action, proving justice thrives when voices align. Daniel's creation of the Whitaker Trust inspires us to protect our legacies and challenge injustice, ensuring no one stands alone against tyranny. This saga urges us to guard our rights, question authority, and forge bonds that outlast greed's fleeting victories. It's a call to listen to the land's stories, honor our roots, and fight for what's right, no matter the odds. Daniel's victory isn't just his, it's a beacon for anyone facing a Goliath, showing that truth, like the earth's pulse, always rises. For more riveting tales of resilience, justice, and epic battles against corruption that spark inspiration and action. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Join our community to uncover stories that empower, challenge, and redefine standing tall against adversity. Don't miss the next thrilling saga. Hit that subscribe button now and stay tuned for more narratives that ignite your spirit and demand change.